Okay. Now, please introduce yourself.
My name is Bossa Udushola. My message is one. I want to become an actress in my future. And I want to be great in life, like other come up a bit about the rhyme chapter. I want to be perfect and good, like acting like a pregnant woman, like a sleeker person, like a rich person, doing like madam.
Okay, very well. You prepared it. Yeah, this written script.
And so everybody.
Good. Okay, now let's say these words. Say these words without looking at the paper. Don't look at the paper. Look at me and say these words.
Okay, my name is Bosolusha. I'm next is one. I want to become an actress in my future.
Don't look anywhere else. Don't look anywhere else. Look at me only.
And I want to become the great great in life, like other the color line shatter, Petia Balogun. And I want to become and I want to have like a pregnant woman, sick person, and so everything. Amen.
It's perfect. You see, you feel a little bit nervous, but when you started speaking, everything, the fear was gone, right? Okay, now say it one time more, but say it in a way that you really want to have it. I really want to give you the role. Okay, you know, I am directing a movie, and this movie is about it's an autobiography. It's a historical background about Helen Keller. So this is the main character. So I would like to have you as my main role, like for my main role. So what? How would you like to say these things to me? Say this again, like you really want to have this role. Where is with strength, you know, looking into my eyes and without bothering what is going on around you. Don't even look around what is going on.
Okay. My name is Bosa Ushola. I'm in SS1. I want to become an actress in future. And I want to become.
It's okay. Just say what you have to say, you know. Just be impromptu. Whatever is coming from your heart, just say it.
I want to become a shit person in life. And I want to become
That's perfect. Okay, that's good. So if I give you this role, how good you are, how much work you will do. Are you really a hard worker or? Yeah. So you will really work on it or? That might go.
Yes.
Okay, let me type my question here in the chat box. Why should I give you this role? Are you a hard worker? Or will you put efforts into it? Will you work hard on this role if I give you this one?
Yes.
Just say yes, I will do. I am a hard worker. I will do. I will try my best. Okay?
Yes, I will do. I will try my best.
Good. Okay, you did a very good job. So thanks for preparing this. And I am glad that you learned something last time. Thank you. Thanks for that. And we will move on towards our today's lecture, which is about written communication. Okay, so let's start that. Okay, let me share my screen and we can go through it. Okay, so let me mute here. Okay, good. So all of you can see my screen, right? Good. So today we will talk about written communications. Last time we got a chance to talk about our, let me mute it here. Okay. Last time we got a chance to talk about oral communication. This time we will move on towards written communications. So I already have asked you what was your takeaway last time. You already showed me your elevator pitch, which was really good. So always remember, whenever you are communicating and trying to like show your elevator pitch during interview or during audition for acting or anything else, you really need to show your confidence that yes, you can do it and you really want it. And you, just like you prepared today few sentences why you want to be an actor, so that same way you have to prepare few sentences before about your elevator pitch for any purpose that you want to work over. Okay, so let's go to the written communications. There are three main types of written communications. One is the transactional. What is a transactional? Transactional message is sent to get results faster and quicker. It can be a quick clarification, a request for meeting, or asking for a favor. For example, you see here the transactional do what some examples are here, like for the business purposes, buy bamboo socks or ticket for Star Wars movies. So this is the quick message that is being sent in the form and it falls under the category of transactional, and it is for asking of something. For example, you are telling someone in your family who is in the market, you're sending a text and you're saying, buy this thing for me on your way back. So you want to have the results because you want to have that thing. Maybe it is just suppose some apples. So you are telling the person, buy some apples uh, on your way back home. So because you want to have apples at home. So you want to have the results. And that was a quick text that you sent with the purpose of having some favor or having some like something in at the end. Informational is basically written communication, which includes the sender delivering a message for the receiver's benefits. For example, I am coming to your shop and I want, or I cannot come to your shop, for example, but I am calling you or I am writing you email about certain product. For example, you are selling a very good, different types of laptops, right? So I am sending you an email or I am calling you or I am asking you, okay, I want to buy a laptop. Can you please let me know more about it? So what you will do, you will send me an informational email which will include everything. Okay, we offer these laptops. We currently have sales on these laptops. We currently offer a discount on these laptops, and these laptops have these features. This laptop has good RAM, this laptop has good memory, this laptop has good graphic card, etc, etc. So that would be informational email, right? Or informational message. Or you can also send me, okay, just like terms and conditions, these are the terms and conditions you have to follow. Or like you are sending me some information about certain project. For example, I am asking you, okay, so how far is this project that we are working on? Can you please give me some information about it? And then you are giving me information about your project or about your business, that okay, for example, I have given you some money or capital for your business, and now I want to have some information. So you will write it, okay, you gave me this much money, I have spent this much, this is the budget, This is the gross income. This is the net income. This is how much taxes I pay. This was how much was my expenditure. This is how much is my profit. This is my profit margin. So you are sending me all that information. You are also sending me information like these are the old team members in my business. These are the new team members I hired. And these are the old products that I launched. These are the new products that I recently launched. And these are the products that I am no longer selling because there was no demand. So you are sending me all details, right? And all those details or are like very beneficial for me, who is the receiver, because I requested that information and I am the receiver. So that information is beneficial for me, right? Here are some examples. For example, if someone is asking you in daily life, for example, okay, how old are you? So this is my question. So you will give me information. I am these years old, right? Or I am asking you, okay, where do you live? How can I get there? So you will tell me, okay, I live there in this city. The transport system is really good in my city. You can take the bus and come to me. This is informational. Now, if we go to our third type, which is the instructional, or you can say navigational, directional. Instructional is the written communication which gives receiver the directions for the certain task or navigation for the certain task. For example, now I ask you that how I can, okay, where do you live? You told me you live in this city and there is a good transport system. That is informational. But now I will ask you, okay, so I will take that bus. What next? How can I get to your home? You will take, then you will give me instructions. Okay, you get off the bus on this stop and then you just go straight for 5-6 minutes or this many kilometers or miles or meters, and then you turn right or you turn left, and on your right hand side is my house, and my house is painted in blue color and it has 3 stories. So now this is more instructional, right? You are giving me instructions that go straight and turn right or turn left, and this will come on your right hand side, on your left hand side. So this is more instructional. Which other examples are of instructional? For example, you have cooked something really good. For example, you have cooked a rice dish or a pasta or something. Now your friend is asking you, this tastes really good. How did you cook it? Now you will give her instructions. Okay, I cooked it this way. She will tell you, send me the detailed instructions. Then you will send her a detailed recipe, right? That, okay, first, these are the ingredients, list of ingredients that you need to cook this. Okay, you need to add these many tablespoon of these, this many teaspoon of these, 1 cup of water, 1 cup of rice or whatever. So and then you will write down the method that add this into this, add salt, mix it, put it on the stove, heat it on the medium level, and like these things. So this is more instructional. You're giving it instructional. Instructionals are also called as navigational if they involve the directions. Instructionals are also called as SOPs. SOPs are standard operating procedures which you write when you are in more professional sphere or when you are at workplace. SOPs, standard operating procedures, they actually include every detail, every single detail, how you operate a certain equipment, how you operate a certain device, etc., or instrument, right? Okay, so there is one extra category in the business writing. We already talked about what is instructional, we already talked about what is informational in business writing. We also talked about what is transactional, but there is one more. Let me actually turn on my pointer for you. So there is one more which is called as persuasive. You see, it is here persuasive. It is these documents. These documents are focused on sales and generally have 2 goals. The first goal is to convey the information, and the second goal is to convince the reader the presented information presents the best value. So it is related to sales and marketing, right? So for example, how these documents are. These documents outline the offer of the product, for example, or a service to specific potential client. For example, there is one client, I am your client. We can still take the example of the laptops, right? So I would like to know some more information regarding the sales benefits or something like this. And you are telling me what is the offer. Like if I pay this much money, what is included in this amount, like in this cost. So sales email is written to a large group of people to pitch to or a specific product or a service. So you are now then pitching that product to a specific targeted audience. For example, um, if these laptops have certain specific graphic card inside. No, not everyone needs a good graphic card, right? Because people who are the designers, like graphic designers or who work with images, they definitely need a good resolution in their laptops. They definitely need a good graphic card. So when you are selling to those people your laptops, then you are focusing more on the graphics, right? And also memory, because when you store the images, they are of very large sizes, and that's why you need to have a good memory of your computer so that it can work. You also need a good processor so that it can function in a good way and you can run those images. So this way you are targeting that audience and only specific audience who are the designers or who process the images. Another example is, for example, if your product is related to cooking, for example, but cooking of a special type of thing, for example, hot pots in Chinese cuisine. Hot pots, they need special types of pots, right? So if you are making those, then you are only targeting those chefs who mainly cook these type of the dishes. So these are called as the persuasive writing. Now we go to types of written communications. How many types are there? One is informal, one is formal, right? Informal is the communication that happens in organization, which is not professional, which is professional but not mandatorily formal. For example, you guys communicate with each other, it is more informal, right? You guys communicate with me, then it is more formal, it is not informal, but still you can communicate with me in an informal way. Informal way is like when I talk to my colleagues, that is more informal. And formal way is with the help of written records, which are official and professional, more professional. When I will talk to my boss or like the higher authorities, I will probably communicate in a more formal way rather than informal way. Informal is when you are most of the times talking with people who are at the same professional level as you are and with whom you have some interpersonal connection, right? That is very important. Formal is when you are talking to the third person whom you don't know very well, but you want to have some professional relationship. For example, you are going to for audition for your acting. For example, some director is offering you a role in a movie or in a drama, and you are going there to for an audition or for an interview. Then that would be more formal, right? More formal because you don't know each other, there is no interpersonal connection, and then you are using all the words which are more professional, using the written records, or if even if they are not written records, I mean in this case, in emails, for example, you are sending the emails, you are sending the letters, you are preparing the proposals, but they are more concise, more precise, more short in the simple language. So formal is also with external as well as internal. External with the third parties who are not part of your organizations, just like me, I am not part of your organization, I'm external. Internal is inside your organization, who are your boss. Like for example, Oluvmi is your head, right? So you will be informal with her sometimes, but most of the times you will be formal, you will talk to her in a good way, like not really in a very easy way, I would say. So you will just watch your words, what you are saying, and you will make it more professional. So there are many ways of written communication. So there are 10 mediums that I'm showing you here about written communications. One is, for example, emails. All of you know about the emails. Emails means electronic mail that is going through your through internet, right? Then is orders, when you are doing it like online, buying and purchasing and selling, then you are also having the written orders, right? Quotations are what, for example, if your company is selling the laptop and the market price that you are selling is, for example, 1000 or something, but I am asking you that I would like to have a quote because maybe I will buy 10 laptops from you. Then you will not sell me at the market rate. Then you will give me a discount and then you will send me a quote about that uh, price that you are offering me. So that is called as quotations or quotes. Okay, about the prices and different discounts and like these things. Quotations are different variable, but I am only giving you example related to the business. Then are the forms. When you go to certain university or school or college, you fill different forms, right? So this is also the form of um, written communication, because sometimes in the box they say, okay, please write your 150 words bio, or please tell us why you want to join us. So this is writing, you are writing it, right? So this is the type of the formal communication, not informal. Contracts when you sign, for example, uh, when I say, okay, I like your acting, I would like to give you this role, let's sign a contract. Then I will put some clauses, some conditions, that okay, so you will work for 7 to 8 hours or in my studio on this role, and you will not sign any other movie while you are working on my movie. So I will write different clauses in my contract that it's called as an agreement, right? So you will sign that. Then is the minutes. What are the minutes? Minutes are the meeting minutes. For example, just like in our first session when we talked with each other, we did not have any lecture, right? But we discussed certain points, how we are going to do it. So we discussed, okay, maybe internet is not very stable, so first we need to get some stable internet. Second point for the meeting minutes is that, okay, maybe we can record the sessions so that students can watch it later on if they miss any point. So that's about the meeting minutes, right? Then we go to the letters. Letters are what? For example, which you receive by mail or email, electronic. You have written it several times. Letters can also be formal and informal. Informal letters are which you write to your family member. For example, you're writing to your brother, your sister who is living in another country or in another city, and you are sending a nice letter to that person. That's more informal because that is based on interpersonal connection. And if they are the formal letters, for example, I am the director and I am giving you the acting role and I am sending you the letter, that is more formal because that is more professional, that is related to your work, right? So that is more formal letter. What other types of the letters are formal? For example, if you are getting a letter from your internet company, for example, you have internet at home, but the company is sending you the monthly bill, that is a formal letter, that is not informal. Your bank is sending you a statement, that is also a formal way, that is not informal way, right? So proposals, what are the proposals? So proposals are the things, for example, uh, when you are going to start your business about, just take the same example about laptops, you don't have money, so you are going to apply for the money so someone can give you money. You can go to either a bank and get a capital from there, or you can go to some venture firm and you can get the capital from there. But for to get that money you need to write a full proposal. What will proposal include? Proposal will include some basic elements like background of your business, the idea of your business, market research of your business. Have you done market research? Are how many competitors are there? Why your idea is so novel and so good? and how much is your budget, like do you have any money in hand or you have no money in hand, how much money you require, what do you think your expected sales, what do you think is your expected revenue, who is going to be in your team. So this is all going to be in the proposal, right, in the business proposal, all these details under certain headings. This is more formal way of writing proposals. Now there are some other, if you see on your left hand side, postcards are also sometimes informal, sometimes formal. Informal postcards are when you're sending it to your friends, when you are sending postcards to your family members, they are more informal. But when you send it to your colleagues or your people with whom you work, then they are more formal. Proposals and reports, we already talked about it. Proposals are when you're getting something, you want to get something. Reports are once I read your proposal and I saw, okay, that's a really good business proposal, so here is the money, you can have it and start your business, but you're going to give report back to me after every year. So after a year you will send me a report then, and the report will include how much items you sold, how much revenue you generated, or was there any loss, and which items were good in for a market demand and which items were not good, right? So that's more about reports. Then comes about the memos. So memos that you write most of the times are about reminders for yourself, right? Or the notes like that you write in the form of the bullet points. They're more like reminders basically. So like if you they are mostly related to the task that you have to do, like and with some deadlines, that which task you have to complete until which time, and also who is involved in that task, like the people's name. For example, this is the task that I have to do. What is the task? The task is that I have to send this email. Now to whom I have to send this email, to these people. What should be included in this email? What this email is about? Like only the title of the email, the purpose of the email, and what is the deadline until when I have to send this email. So this all includes in the memos. Agendas are just like the minutes. So minutes are after the meeting. Like after the meeting, you are noting down all the points, and agendas are before meeting. So before meeting, you are sending the agenda. Okay, these are the points that we are going to cover in the meeting. And meeting minutes, these are the points that we have covered in the meeting, right? So they are the two different. If this is the difference. So infomercials are more about the marketing material. You remember when you maybe you have seen sometimes when you go to the market, um, shopkeepers sometimes give you the flyers, like the paper material, right? Sometimes a brochure which is written about all the information of about the products, about the sales going to happen. So that's called as infomercials, or called as brochures, flyers, or pamphlets, which include the information, and it is mainly for marketing of certain thing, of certain not only a certain product, but also sometimes certain information. For example, when you maybe you have seen that whenever there are elections, during elections, all the politicians, they always prepare their flyers. Okay, come and vote for us. This is my picture, what I'm going to do. It's like a one paper that they give you, right? And they put it everywhere, that paper. That's called infomercial, but that's what is all about, is about information they're giving you about certain campaign or certain project or anything. So resumes, what are the resumes? Resumes are the CVs. For example, wherever you go, in whichever institute you appear for a job, for audition, for money from the bank, you have to attach your resume. So there are two types, like resume and curriculum vitae. So CV, which is also called a CV. CV is more detailed form of of your education, of your work experience, of your references, if you have any publications, if you have any honors and awards. So it's a brief like layout or the description of yourself, like your professional life, basically. right? You're not going to write your personal things in that, that I got married or I didn't get married or I was born. No, just your professional things. That what are your educations? Do you have any certificates? What are your skills? And what are the honors and awards you have? What are the publications? What are your references? That's all of these things are covered in resumes and CV. CV is more detailed. Resume is two-paged, mostly focused on the job that you are targeting. Academic documents are many. Actually, involves many documents. It involves proposals, it involves letters, it involves reports, it also involves sometimes um, that we have covered before, SOP, standard operating procedures. So it involves many things. It involves the contracts, so different things. Research manuscripts are basically the scientific papers that you write. For example, you have worked on certain project and you have done some research, you collected the data, and now you want to publish it. So where you will publish it, you will look for the journals, research journals, which are targeting specific category, and you will approach that journal online, and you will look into the format of that journal, and then you will change your manuscript according to that journal format, and then you will publish it, you will submit it for publication, and then it will publish. So research manuscripts are mainly, they involve your data analysis, how you did the analysis, and what else it involves is like method, which method you use, description, the background, the results and discussion. Now based on your research, what are the results, and based on your results, what is the discussion, and then the futures perspectives. For example, in conclusion you will write why is it important for future, what is the scope of this in future. And then is the white papers. White papers are mostly for organizations and businesses and different places, where they show in details, in terms and conditions or terms of references, that what is the idea or thought of this organization about particular matter or about particular subject. I don't think it is related to you right now. So let's go to the elements. Now, when you're writing it, what you have to think about, what are the key messages you are delivering. You have to think about it. What is the purpose of the message? Why are you writing this message? What is the structure, how you are going to structure it? I mean, there should be a flow in the writing, right? You cannot break that flow. You cannot put something on the top and something in the middle, then there is no connection. You need to find that connection. Identifying the relevance. Whatever you are writing in the structure of the message, is it relevant to the purpose which you are writing? Is it relevant to the receiver to whom you are sending this message? Note taking. You always have to take down the notes. You have to follow certain guidelines that you have set. If you're working in certain organization, every organization have their own rules and regulations for written communications. Smileys and emoticons. Is this important to include smileys and emoticons? Is this formal communication or informal? Mostly informal communications, you don't include smileys and emoticons, but you can sometimes if you are talking in the work environment and you have some interpersonal connections, but not always. Alternative viewpoints. You also have to be seen that whatever you are writing, there will be some alternative viewpoints or opinions or suggestions regarding your message. You can keep those things beforehand in your mind, and you can include a brief description, or brief, like I would say in 1 or 2 sentences, not even a description, 1 or 2 sentences, you can include those alternative viewpoints too. Proofreading. Always, once you write a draft of your message, always read it 3-4 times. Always check it. Don't rush to click the button send. It's maybe there can be some mistakes. Maybe you can make it more concise and better and more clear. That's very important. Grammar and spelling. You can check your grammar and spelling if this is correct or not. If I can give you a tip here, if you use um, Gmail, when you are sending emails using a Gmail account, then most of the times when you're typing your message, Gmail has this autocorrect function, and there will be red lines, underlines. You will see below words or below sentences which are wrong, and you can click right using your mouse, like click right like this, and it will show you how to correct it. So Gmail actually has that type of autocorrection, so it can help you in correcting the spellings and grammar. You can also type it on Word, and then you can, there is one add-on for the Microsoft Word which is called as Grammarly. Grammarly is really good because Grammarly can also look for wrong spellings or wrong grammar, and it can help you in correcting that. I'm not sure how, if Grammarly is free or not, but Grammarly is something that you can use in the Microsoft Word too, and then you can copy paste in your email. Now, there are 8 ways of written communication. First, we already talked what is the purpose of your writing. Second, know your audience, whom you are addressing. Is this someone you are talking with friends, or is it talking with someone who is your boss? Read, and read. Definitely read. This is very important. Read 2-3 times. Even when you are sending a text message, read it. If this text message is not like an informal conversation, then read it for 2-3 times if it is appropriate or not. Be precise and concise. Be very concise, to the point, and don't beat around the bush. Don't go into the loops, go straight to the point, be clear, and be very concise. Lay language, use simple language, don't use difficult words if you think that your audience cannot get it. Don't put them in the confusion. Active versus passive voice. So sometimes you use active sentences, sometimes you use the passive sentences. Passive sentences are mostly used in more formal communications, right? Active sentences are mostly used in informal. So you can see here the example. For example, this is a passive. In passive, the object is put in the front and then is followed by the helping verb, and then is the past participle of the verb. For example, error is displayed when logo is clicked by the user. So the user is basically the subject, right? The subject is put at the end in the passive sentences. Active sentence, the user is, which is like a subject, is put in the beginning. When user clicks the logo, error displays, so the object comes later. So more in business world, most of the time passive sentences are used instead of the active sentences. Review and edit. Always review your message, email, text, and edit it if possible. Be tactful and positive. Don't send the negative text, negative emails that can bring disappointment in the other person. Send them a positive vibes and positive energy, right? Positive text, positive messages. Be tactful, be logical. Don't be illogical in your messages. Here are some other effective communication skills. Written communications must be preceded by the thought and analysis. Do perfect thought and analysis. Is it a good way? Is it really a conveying my message regarding the purpose of this writing? It must be clear, correct, complete, courteous, simply, and easy language. Simple and easy language is also like a lay language. The writer should have the sound knowledge of the subject dealing about. Whichever email you are writing, you need to know what you are doing, what you are writing, right? The writer must be careful regarding committing the mistake and correctness of the information. If it is regarding sending certain information, you need to be sure if it is correct or not, and if you are making mistake or not. In written communication, you should have a knowledge about spelling and grammatical words. That these days you can always correct it using Microsoft Word or Gmails and other things. And in written communication, promptness helps to win friends and influence customers. Yeah, it's very important. You need to be very show a little bit positive vibes, positive energy, and it will be really good. You should have avoided the stereotyped or rubber stamp expressions, like avoid the stereotype expression. Be very clear and be very simple using the words. Avoid the rude, sarcastic, hard language because that is not good for your tone, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. So you must follow what is included in the body text. What is your tone? Like no rude words or like harsh words, hostile words, um, or you we talked about it before. Like it should not be. It should not show uh, that you are being pessimistic. Even the pessimism it should not show, it should be more optimistic, right? So the tone is very important. So just avoid the stereotype words and everything. Short and simple. Have a reflection about that, how is it going to reflect my receiver. Just be in that shoes and see how is it going to reflect. Avoid the I statements. Too many I statements are not good. 7 C's rule always follow, that we covered in our last lecture. Be diplomatic, be honest, and show your interpersonal connection. These are very important. Now I would like you to watch this video. I'm not sure. Yeah, here it is. And let me know if you can hear it, okay?
You're telling a friend an amazing story, and you just get to the best part when suddenly he interrupts. The alien and I, not me and the alien. Most of us would probably be annoyed, but aside from the rude interruption, does your friend have a point? Was your sentence actually grammatically incorrect? And if he still understood it, why does it even matter? From the point of view of linguistics, grammar is a set of patterns for how words are put together to form phrases or clauses, whether spoken or in writing. Different languages have different patterns. In English, the subject normally comes first, followed by the verb and then the object, while in Japanese and many other languages, the order is subject, object, verb. Some scholars have tried to identify patterns common to all languages, but apart from some basic features, like having nouns or verbs, few of these so-called linguistic universals have been found. And while any language needs consistent patterns to function, the study of these patterns opens up an ongoing debate between two positions known as prescriptivism and descriptivism. Grossly simplified, prescriptivists think a given language should follow consistent rules, while descriptivists see variation and adaptation as a natural and necessary part of language. For much of history, the vast majority of language was spoken, but as people became more interconnected and writing gained importance, written language was standardized to allow broader communication and ensure that people in different parts of a realm could understand each other. In many languages, this standard form came to be considered the only proper one, despite being derived from just one of many spoken varieties, usually that of the people in power. Language purists worked to establish and propagate this standard by detailing a set of rules that reflected the established grammar of their times. And rules for written grammar were applied to spoken language as well. Speech patterns that deviated from the written rules were considered corruptions or signs of low social status, and many people who had grown up speaking in these ways were forced to adopt the standardized form. More recently, however, linguists have understood that speech is a separate phenomenon from writing, with its own regularities and patterns. Most of us learn to speak at such an early age that we don't even remember it. We form our spoken repertoire through unconscious habits, not memorized rules. And because speech also uses mood and intonation for meaning, its structure is often more flexible, adapting to the needs of speakers and listeners. This could mean avoiding complex clauses that are hard to parse in real time, making changes to avoid awkward pronunciation, or removing sounds to make speech faster. The linguistic approach that tries to understand and map such differences without dictating correct ones is known as descriptivism. Rather than deciding how language should be used, it describes how people actually use it and tracks the innovations they come up with in the process. But while the debate between prescriptivism and descriptivism continues, the two are not mutually exclusive. At its best, prescriptivism is useful for informing people about the most common established patterns at a given point in time. This is important not only for formal contexts, but it also makes communication easier between non-native speakers from different backgrounds. Descriptivism, on the other hand, gives us insight into how our minds work and the instinctive ways in which we structure our view of the world. Ultimately, grammar is best thought of as a set of linguistic habits that are constantly being negotiated and reinvented by the entire group of language users. Like language itself, it's a wonderful and complex fabric woven through the contributions of speakers and listeners, writers and readers, prescriptivists and descriptivists from both near and far.
Okay, so now this is the end, and I will ask you what is your aha moment or what did you learn from today's session? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I am back here. So how was today's session? What did you learn? Who can tell me? Anyone? Yeah, just unmute yourself. Let me unmute you. Raise your hand. Who can tell me, even if you can tell me few words, that's okay. You don't have to tell me like in sentences. I'm going to unmute you and then you can let me know. Anyone? Yeah, okay, just unmute yourself because I think you are muted. You are muted, so just unmute the computer and then you can speak. Yeah, okay, so who was there? Who said that? Who raised the hand? Yeah, yeah.
Categories of writing communication.
Okay, anything else?
Information.
Yes.
Transactional.
Yeah, transactional.
Instructional.
Okay, that's really cool. So I have one question. So what is informal and what is formal communication? Can you give me example what is informal communication? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the communication that happens in organization.
Informal communication?
Yes, this is the communication that happens in organization, which is professional but not.
Okay, here is the wrong thing. Informal communication is with your friends, with your colleagues, or with your family member. Formal communication is which happens in a professional organization when with your boss or with your authorities. I mean, informal can also happen in organization, you're right, but with your colleagues, not with your boss or with authorities, right? Like, I mean, when you talk with each other, that is informal. When you talk with me, that is formal, right? Okay, so another question. What are the different mediums for written communication? Just name one or two mediums of written communication. Yeah?
Email.
What?
Letter.
One person, I cannot hear.
Email.
Yes, emails and?
Letter.
Yeah.
White paper.
Yeah, that's cool.
Postcard.
Yes, postcard. Memos, yeah.
Memos.
Okay, that's really good. So one more question is, someone said memos. So let's take it. What are memos?
Memos. Memos are reminder or notes.
Yeah, exactly. That's correct. And let's go to the next one. I would like to ask, what are the minutes? Meeting minutes.
Come again. Father? Come again, ma. Come again, ma.
Okay, meeting minutes are when you note down the points after the meeting. Discussion points of the meeting. These are called as meeting minutes, right? When you write down all the points of the meeting after the meeting, that's meeting minutes. And what is agenda? Agenda is what you send before the meeting, what is going to be discussed in the meeting, right? Okay, let me think any other question. Okay. Okay, next time, maybe in our session, I will give you assignment. You can do like you can write one informal letter and one formal letter. Okay. Just few sentences. You don't have to write so much. Just 3 or 4 sentences are enough. Okay. So I have one more question. I think, let me think. We covered about lots of things. So what about proposals and reports? Reports are?
Proposal is background of yes.
Okay, yeah, reports are like which you submit like to show what is like, where once you get the proposal and you get something about a project, then you need to report on that project every year, right? To send that how much is the sales profit in the business. Basically, I'm talking about business reports. And proposals are something which you do before, like before starting a business to get the money or something. It's just an example. It's just one example. Okay, and let me see. Do you really have to read your message before sending or not? Yes, always read. Always read your text message also, what you are sending. Okay, that's very important. You don't, because these written things are like a proof, right? Even if you're texting your friend and you have a conflict with your friend, I mean, you are not in good terms with your friend and you are sending the messages, be careful what you are sending, because these messages are like proof, right? That can be shown to anyone. So always be careful what you send in writing. That's very important. So read it, be clear, be simple, and that's it. So I think with that note, I already gave you assignment. Next week, I will check your written letters, informal and formal. And I will send you, I will send all of me the link of this video. And also I will send the PDF file of this presentation. And I wish all of you a very good day. I think it's afternoon time. All of you just take care of yourself. And I think I will end the session. I can see all of me standing there. So have a great day. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye, all of me. I will end the session now, okay?
All right.
Okay, take care.